Hey everyone, my name is Matt. Welcome to my shop. If your shop's anything like mine, it is always evolving and changing, both in terms of layout and in tooling. So today I thought I would do a video about all the new tools I've added to my shop in the year 2015. So let's take a look. So easily the largest category of tools added to the shop this year have to do with my trailer. I bought a trailer earlier this year, and I think I would consider that the largest tool purchase because it really is a tool for me of the year. I paid about $1,000 for that trailer, and I replaced the brakes, and I added a log arch to it and this winch here. And that allows me to go out and pick up logs, put them right on my trailer without any heavy equipment with me. So to do all that trailer work, I needed a welder, and I picked up this one here. This is a 225 amp AC stick welder from Lincoln, and it worked fantastic for that project. I had never welded before this, and I found this to be fairly, I don't know, I guess I don't have any comparison at this point, but I didn't think it was that hard to get going with this. So the reason I picked this guy up, this was used on Craigslist. I paid $200 for the welder, this cart, and I think this extension cord is 35 feet, and it's really heavy gauge. I think it's maybe a 2 gauge cord, something like that. So I think that was a pretty good deal because the extension cord alone would have probably cost me at least $100. So with the welder, obviously I had to buy some accessories, just general welding stuff because I've never had any of that stuff before. So that's going to be like a welding helmet, welding gloves. And Douglas over at RetroWeld actually sent me a really nice welding jacket. So thank you, Douglas, for that. It was really, really kind of you. So also with the trailer, I had to pick up a winch to operate the arch. And I picked up this 12,000 pound winch from Harbor Freight. Works great. I paid $300 for it. I think it's an extremely good value. And to power the winch, I picked up a large marine battery and a battery charger. So there are a couple of metalworking specific tools that I picked up as well. So let's take a look at those next. So I started up my whole project with my angle grinder. I had this from a few years ago. Worked great. I didn't have any problems with it until I broke the spindle lock, which makes it really inconvenient to remove the whatever thing you have on here, the disc or the wheel or whatever. So I kind of did two things with that. For cutting metal, and I should have done this a long time ago, I picked up one of these cold cut saws. This was $90. I got it off of Amazon. And this thing just flies through metal like no problem. I was using a cutoff wheel on the angle grinder before, and this is way, way faster. And for $90 and all the metal cutting I was doing, I should have bought this a long time ago. Now to sort of replace the other angle grinder, I picked up this Milwaukee grinder. I was just going to buy a new one of the Ryobis, but what I really liked about this guy, it was $60, so it's twice as much as that one, but it has a toolless adjustable guard, which is really nice because as you can see on this one, I don't have a guard on it because it was a pain in the butt to change the setting on the guard because you need a screwdriver to do it, and then I ended up taking it off and losing it. So this year I also upgraded my planer. I went from a 15-inch to a 20-inch planer. Both Grizzly. I got this off of Craigslist, and I actually paid $800 for it, and I traded 125 board feet of walnut for it. And I was able to sell my old planer for $800 as well. So this really only cost me the opportunity cost, I guess, on the walnut if I had sold to someone. So this was really like a no-brainer upgrade, and I'm really happy with it. This thing is just an absolute beast, and I love it. So these are the new hand tools that I got this year. I have 2 mallets from Dema over at Dema's Woodshop, a round mallet for carving or whatever. And then I have my joinery mallet that I use all the time now. This thing is really nice. Dema did a really good job on this one. I use this one all the time. This really awesome small carving mallet was made for me by Dane over at DF Designs. He did an amazing job with this one. This is black oak and a curly maple handle. Just beautiful. And I have one more mallet here. This is from Joe over at Joe's Basement Woodworking. Nice little mallet, kind of fun. I use this one just for closing up paint cans, things like that, because it's a little bit smaller, but still kind of a fun little mallet. So I also got this pencil, or this big fat lead pencil from Dema as well. This is a box elder, I think it's a box elder burl. Looks like kind of burly. Really nice piece of wood here, fantastic finish. I use this thing all the time now for rough layout of parts on boards. it works really well. I usually use chalk, but this is kind of nice, and I think he said you can get chalk for these as well, so I think maybe once I run out of the graphite inserts, I'll probably switch to chalk. But this thing is really handy because it's really hard to lose this. I seem to lose chalk quite a bit. Starting over here, these are some holdfasts that were sent to me by Horton Brasses. These are actually their prototypes. They were looking at releasing a line of holdfasts for their customers. So they sent me a couple of initial prototypes to take a look at and give my feedback on, and I got to keep them after we were done with that project. But this version here, this is a hammered bar stock holdfast, and it holds really well because it's such a rough texture. So these actually hold extremely well in the dog holes. This is a smaller prototype of the ones I have available now. This is a 1/2 inch bar, and then the ones I have now are for 3/4 inch dog holes, although these 1/2 inch ones do work in my 3/4 inch holes. So next up here are my bevel gauges. I picked up this one here to replace my old kind of cheap one that I got from the home center. And then a few weeks later, my friend Peter sent me this Vesper Tools gauge or bevel, and this thing is incredible. It's just so well made and like perfectly machined, and it's a work of art. Chris Vesper does an amazing job with these tools. This is obviously a lot more than this one. I paid $28 for this one, and it functionally wise, I mean, it's not as smooth as a bevel as this one is, but for the money, this is a lot nicer because it doesn't move at all. It takes a pretty good amount of force to move this thing. It's a heck of a step up from this, and I think it's made like $5 for this, and this is 28, so this was definitely a great buy. But thank you again, Peter, for sending me this thing because I absolutely love this. It's just an amazing thing. So next up here, these are my Christmas gifts. This was from my wife, and this is from my in-laws. This is a Florup marking gauge, really nicely machined. Has the adjustment, the fine adjustment barrel here. You can spin this to change the fine adjustment on the fence and lock it down. It's really heavy, and it's really nicely made. And then this guy here is a fishtail chisel. You can use this for cleaning up the inside corners of half-blind dovetail sockets. This profile here allows you to really get into inside corners really easily. And it's my first Lie-Nielsen tool besides my dowel plate, and it's just beautiful and really smooth and perfectly made. And the last hand tool that I had for this year was this bow saw, and Dema gave me this one as well. I think he bought a pair of these and didn't need 2 of them, so he gave me one of them. I still have to put a new blade in it because it's a little rusty, but I'm looking forward to using this on some future projects. Now, hiding over here is my X-Carve that was sent to me by Inventables this year. I finally got it in its final place. I'm going to make some kind of mount so that it can attach to the wall on some hinges or something so I can fold it up against the wall when I'm not using it. And I also picked up a second Colt router, Bosch Colt router, just for the CNC. I got that one on clearance for like $70 or something. So I haven't had the time yet to actually finish setting up the CNC. I just really haven't had that much time to be messing with it. It does take a fair amount of tweaking and calibration, and I really just haven't had the time to mess with it yet. But I hope to in the new year because I really want to integrate this more into my workflow. And the last tool I picked up this year is this drawing bow. And this allows you to basically make curves or draw curves with one hand or with one person. Instead of having, you know, someone hold a piece of bent material while you can trace a curve, this allows you to adjust a belt and you can make a curve out of this thing. So I can make a curve, I can lay it on my workpiece and, you know, trace it out that way. This was $28 and you can actually make one of these as well. I just chose to buy one since I knew I was never going to get around to actually making one. So one of my probably bigger purchases this year is actually a tool for making videos. And that is the camera that I'm using right now. This is my new camera. It's a Sony CX900. Absolutely love that thing. I picked it up used for about $850. And then I also picked up a set of these Sennheiser lavalier mics. I got those used for about $4.50, and those were pretty significant purchases on my part, but they really made my workflow a lot easier. Prior to using this camera, I used this one and my DSLR for all my shooting, and the workflow just wasn't that efficient, and it was especially inefficient with the corded lavalier mic that I used to use. And I'm really happy with this mic system because I don't have to be tethered anymore, and the audio quality is pretty close to perfect. With it takes pretty much no work in post for me to do any audio work, so that definitely speeds up my production time, which I like. So that is a look at everything that's new in the tooling department here in my shop. I hope everyone had a great year this year. 2015 was a fantastic year for me, and I can't wait to see what happens in 2016. So thank you all for a fantastic year. I appreciate all your views and your subscriptions and your comments and all that good stuff. Thank you all so much. I'll leave links, or I'll try to have links to all of the products that I showed today in the description of this video if you want to take a look at more details about these products. So thank you as always for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments about anything I showed today or anything else here in my shop, please feel free to leave me a comment. As always, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. And until next time, happy woodworking.